From KELOLAND Media Group, your local election headquarters, a special Inside KELOLAND, marijuana on the ballot.
Good evening. Marijuana is back on the South Dakota ballot, not once, but twice. Initiated Measure 26 would legalize medical marijuana. Amendment A would make it legal for anyone 21 and older to possess and use marijuana. Before you fill out your ballot, we're taking a closer look at both measures. Coming up, we hear from one of the people behind IM26. We'll talk about what the proposal will mean for you. We'll also be joined by the head of the South Dakota Medical Association. He wants to talk about what science and research says is best for patients. But first, we're hearing from people on both sides of Amendment A. We're starting the conversation with one of the people behind the amendment. Dre Samuelson is joining us via Zoom to talk about the measure and what it would mean for you. Thanks for joining us, Dre.
Good to be here, Perry. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, first of all, talk about what Amendment A specifically would do.
Sure. Amendment A does two principal things. It protects South Dakotans' right to access medical marijuana, and it will permit individuals 21 and older to possess and purchase up to 1 ounce of marijuana. It will also create a system to license and regulate marijuana businesses, and it will establish a 15% tax on marijuana sales to adult purchasers. But the key thing isn't really what the law says in per se, it's what it's going to do. And there's 3 or 4 things I'd like to emphasize. It will finally free law enforcement to focus their time, energy, and effort on stopping serious crime and not arrest folks who are committing victimless crimes. It will not only free law enforcement, but will unclog our courts, our jails, and our prison system. It will stop ruining the lives of people who aren't hurting anyone else. When you're arrested for a marijuana violation, you have a criminal record that affects your reputation, your ability to get a job, and often it can profoundly affect your freedom. Studies have also shown that it will reduce opioid overdose deaths from 20% to 30%. And if Amendment A and Measure 26 pass, it will likely save dozens of South Dakotans' lives. Mm-hmm. Finally, according to the South Dakota Legislative Research Council, passage of Amendment A will generate $60 million by 2024, and that amount will conservatively add up to more than $250 million in 10 years. That's a huge amount of money in a small population state like ours.
Mm-hmm. Why are you going through the constitutional amendment route when that'll pretty much hamstring the legislature to make any kind of fine-tuning to marijuana laws in the state, wouldn't it?
Well, we saw what happened with Initiated Measure 22, which passed in 2016. And the legislature, as you know, repealed it within just a few weeks. The legislature clearly does not favor even medical marijuana, let alone marijuana for legal marijuana for adults. And there is no doubt that if Measure 26 passes, no doubt in my mind that they will gut it or repeal it, just as they did with Initiative Measure 22. So because Amendment A is a constitutional amendment, and it protects Measure 26, they can't do that. The only way they could do that would be to put it back on the ballot, which they're not going to want to do, and challenge it. So this is a way to protect Measure 26, which is medical marijuana.
Mm-hmm. Some critics say by legalizing marijuana for recreational use, it'll open the door for more teen usage. What do you say to that?
Well, we say that that's a myth. Studies show that teen use actually goes down in states that legalize marijuana for adult use. Not a lot, but it does. It doesn't go up. Probably because teens find it harder to obtain because legal marijuana is only sold in dispensaries where one has to prove one's age, and teens are not allowed to even enter. Illicit drug dealers obviously don't require proof of age, and legal dispensaries tend to drive illicit dealers out of business. Who's going to want to buy marijuana from an illicit dealer at the risk of your reputation, your job, and your freedom if you can get it from a legal dispensary? Mm-hmm. In fact, a study done by a number of major universities found that recreational marijuana laws were associated with an 8% decrease in the likelihood of teens even trying marijuana, as well as a 9% reduction in the odds of frequent marijuana use.
Why now? Some people say, why hurry and get the law passed now rather than wait until more research is done about the medical benefits and the dangers of marijuana usage?
Well, Perry, the research has been done. Marijuana is a drug. There's no question about that, but it's a benign drug by and large. I mean, it can be abused just like any drug can be. But one of the reasons to pass it now is so that we can focus law enforcement on actually serious crimes, not clog our courts and jails up with people that have been arrested. And also, frankly, the financial benefits to it are, as I said, extremely substantial. And we could get a first mover advantage by acting now, because there's no state around us that a neighboring state that has marijuana legal in terms of adult use. And it's to our economic benefit, actually, to pass this now.
And money from that would quickly go to education funding?
50% goes to education. 50% goes to the state's general fund, which will be used to improve our roads and bridges or whatever the legislature and the governor decided to use it for. But it's money that we can use to benefit the people of our state without any question.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Inside KELOLAND, Ray. Well, we've heard the reasons for supporters want you to vote yes on. Up next, we'll hear why opponents are urging you to vote no. We'll be right back.